we have just received news where both next-gen consoles and PC could experience double, or if even some cases triple the frame rates in certain games going forward. And now we're of course talking about FSR 3 and the recent announcement of this. I am going to play at the end of my section of the video, I'm going to play the full clip where they talk about all the graphical options and what you can expect to get from FSR 3, but this could be a huge game changer and completely negate the need for mid-gen refreshes of the PS5 and the Xbox Series X, because this is huge technology. And we already have this kind of thing on PC with the NVIDIA stuff, but this is actually being done by AMD, which is obviously the GPU manufacturers and CPU, for that matter, of the console, or APU, I should say. So I'll put the full clip at the end of the video, as I just said, but just to summarize, if you don't want to watch that, essentially FSR 3 is like frame generation for NVIDIA, where they can essentially use AI to insert a frame in between each frame to double or even triple frame rates in certain cases. But what AMD is actually doing is, first of all, they're not just enabling it for AMD GPUs, they're being very consumer friendly by allowing even NVIDIA GPUs to use this technology. So on a game that doesn't have NVIDIA frame generation, you could potentially use FSR 3. So that's brilliant news, and they kind of took a shot on NVIDIA there, because they're not even enabling it just for their own GPUs, but other companies' GPUs, and they're enabling it for their previous generation GPUs. And you could potentially use this on a GTX 1080 or a 1070 Ti. There's not a limit to what GPU potentially you could use this on. It covers all of the older ones. So a 1080, for example, that is probably struggling massively with gaming or modern gaming these days, you could potentially now use FSR 3 with your GTX 1080 to double your frame rates depending what game you're playing, obviously. Now, this isn't going to just be released for every game. We obviously have to wait for a list of games for AMD. Then gradually every game will start including this going forward. They expect to start rolling things out next month, and we'll start to see this technology introduced more and more. But this is huge news. And for the consoles, this, as I said, could negate the need for a next-gen refresh. If you're talking about doubling frame rates, things like Starfield, when they want to introduce this technology into Starfield, the console could double the frame rate. We could potentially see 60 FPS in Starfield on Xbox. That is huge news. So this is just great, guys. This is honestly a game-changing thing for the consoles and even the PCs and people with older hardware as well. Now, Todd Howard has already spoken about the fact that Starfield was running in some cases at 60 FPS on the Series X, but there was a lot of drops down to probably the mid to high 30s. So literally frame generation for this would be actually perfectly ideal, because it's fluctuating so much. Rather than seeing, you know, a 60 drop down to a 30, you could see 120 drop down to a 60, for example, and you wouldn't necessarily get 120. I'm just giving you as an example of that. You maybe see a 90 or an 80 FPS drop down to a 60 or something. With VRR enabled, this is brilliant, because you can then, you know, you won't see those drops as much. It's not going to be all over the place like this. They got to obviously optimize for this as well, which is something they can do on the consoles. So all in all, this is huge news. But I'm going to insert the like kind of 10-minute clip now where they talk about this. But this is brilliant. I think this is what Phil Spencer meant by we're not going to do a mid-gen refresh, because he knows this technology is coming. It is mainly AMD. They even said in this video about Xbox is going to be getting this technology. So I think this is fantastic news. A lot of good things to come from this, and for people with older GPUs as well. They also did announce 2 new GPUs, but we're not going to talk about that in this video. We're just going to talk about frame generation or DLSS 3, sorry. FSR 3, sorry. So many flipping threes. But anyway, that's it from my part. Watch the end of this and let me know what you guys think.
I do want to keep digging on some of the updates and news on software, so I'm just straight up going to ask, when is FSR 3 coming out?
You guys want an update on FSR 3? Yeah. I think it's the most replied comments I've been getting on social media is, where the heck is FSR 3? So we've got a great update for you today on FSR 3. So first of all, what FSR 3 is, in case you're not sure, is it's obviously the follow-on to FSR 2, our upscaler and our performance enhancer that integrates into games. But FSR 3 adds our fluid motion frames technology. And what that does is it literally generates frames for you in your game, which can double and in some cases triple your frame rate. And when you pair it with Anti-Lag Plus, it significantly reduces your latency as well. It's pretty incredible what the team has been able to accomplish with FSR 3. So, a couple other things you should know. It's still going to be open. It's going to work on Radeon 7000 series cards, Radeon 6000 series cards, and even older cards. How's that?
Hell yeah.
Doubling and tripling your frame rate on any card that can run it, basically. Okay, but we didn't stop there. It's FidelityFX Super Resolution. And AMD cares about all gamers. So we enabled FSR 3 not just to work on Radeon graphics cards, to work on any graphics card. And our engineers didn't stop there. It doesn't just work on any PC graphics card. It even works on consoles like the Microsoft Xbox. Everybody should get the benefit of frame generation of fluid motion frames. It shouldn't be reserved just for the small select few of people that can buy the latest generation graphics card. That's not right for gamers. Who wants to know when you're going to get your hands on FSR 3? So, first of all, let me show you FSR 3 in action. Okay, so the first thing I want to show you is FSR 3 in Forspoken. This is their brand new DLC. Okay, and it's running here. You can see the kind of performance improvement that we're delivering with FSR 3. Nearly triple the performance improvement when you turn this feature on. And any of you guys checked out Immortals of Avium? Just came out. We've got FSR 3 integrated into Immortals of Avium as well. And you can expect both Forspoken and Immortals of Avium patches coming out early fall. Just a few more weeks ahead, you're going to see these patches come out, and you'll be able to take advantage of these massive frame rate gains. You probably want it in more than just 2 games, right?
I've been looking at the new Cyberpunk expansion, Phantom Liberty, and
You want FSR 3 in it?
absolutely.
Okay.
Space Marine
You got
as
it.
well?
FSR 3 for you. You got it.
Hell yeah. Let's go.
So we've already got a bunch of games coming out with committed support for FSR 3. So just check the screen behind me. Over 12 games have already committed to integrating FSR 3 in it. And beyond these 12 games, we've got a bunch of game developers as well, including Unreal Engine is going to put a plugin in Unreal Engine for FSR 3. And once you do that, you're going to get an absolute ton of games that are going to be integrating FSR 3. So expect FSR 3 support to grow very rapidly from here, just like FSR 1 and FSR 2 did. FSR 3 is pretty cool, obviously, right? But so we're going to put it in 10, 15, 20, 50 games. You know, our competitor has their frame generation in like 50 games or so. Wouldn't you like fluid motion frames in thousands of games? How about every DirectX 11 and DirectX 12 game you play, we can double and triple your frame rate. Wouldn't you like that? Yeah, we would too. So we asked our engineers if they can figure out a magical way of doing that, because nobody's been able to do it. Every frame generation technology right now requires integration into the game, and that limits how many games you can launch out there with frame generation. But the engineers at AMD are pretty special, and they figured out a way to put fluid motion frames into HyperRX. And that means pretty much any DirectX 11 and DirectX 12 game running the AMD Adrenalin HyperRX software is going to get the benefits of fluid motion frames, frame interpolation, and generation.
Awesome.
So it's already working. We've got it working in our labs. It looks absolutely incredible. It's going to be launching to the public by Q1, so just a few more months ahead. By Q1, we'll be introducing that in the Adrenalin driver with HyperRX. And stay tuned to AMD News to learn more about it. All right, guys, that's going to be unbelievable. There's no other solution out there like it. You're going to get massive frame rate improvements with fluid motion frames.
New cards, fantastic. Fluid motion, frames, and tech, amazing. But we got to talk about Starfield, right? We got to talk about the biggest game of the year. How good are the cards on Starfield?
Well, what's been great is we've been working with our friends at Bethesda now for many, many months, optimizing Starfield, not only across AMD Radeon GPUs, but AMD Ryzen CPUs. And I can't tell you the scores yet, but what I would tell you is that these cards are able to run Starfield exceptionally smooth at 1440p.
But who wants a free copy of Starfield? That's right. So, for a limited time, if you buy a Radeon 6000 or 7000 series graphics card, you get a free copy of Starfield with it. So if you're thinking about buying a graphics card, do it now. All right, that's an expensive game, and you're going to get a free copy of Starfield with any 6000 or 7000 series Radeon purchase. So I think now's the time to buy.
Hell yeah.